From the offices of MrTopStep.com in Delray Beach, Florida, I am Danny Riley from Mr. Top Step. You guys know who I am. The name of today's video is going to be the S&P 500 futures and the Trump healthcare showdown, because it is a showdown. I want to remind everyone that these are not our father's markets or charts, and in no way, shape, or form are you guaranteed to make even 1 penny trading futures and options. The high of the day in the S&P, oh yeah, before I start that, I want to ask one question. Can you say gridlock? I can. The high of the day in the S&P came in at 23.5275 early. The low came in at 43 half, about 10:30, and last we just made a new low at 23.41 even, and that would be like unchanged. That would be like unchanged on the day. So there's really not a lot going on here. Let's see. Total volume. We have 825,000 minis with 130,000 of that coming from Globex. So there's not a lot of volume here. We've gone from an extreme of 2.68 million minis on Wednesday's down day. We came in with like 1.6 million minis yesterday. So the volumes are sliding back down. Now, according to Predicted says that there's an 88% chance that the Trump healthcare bill will not pass. And I think that that's been kind of in the works for a while, so I don't think that that's anything new. But there are some people still out there saying that they think that the bill is going to pass. I don't think it's going to pass. And that's why I'm doing the video before. One of the things I want to talk about real quick is what's going on with trading in general. The market's on normal days, just trending up and down, just kind of doing their thing. But every time that there's a major event around, everybody writes a story about how bad it's going to be. And the problem with that is that in order to trade the event, you have to wait to right up to the event. Because if you try to sell the S&P in front of the event, what we've learned is you get run over. There's always a short squeeze right before the event. There was one yesterday. We went up to, 58, 59.75 or something like that. So we did have a little bit of a squeeze yesterday. We had a squeeze today. And I think for the most part that a lot of people are just risk reverse going into this. They don't want to have a lot of exposure because frankly I think that most people are a little scared. The question that I have to ask you would be, well, I have two questions to ask you. The first one is, should Trump have gone and done his tax cuts before he dug into the healthcare stuff? I'm starting to think that. I mean, I was thinking this a couple days as the numbers started coming in, saying that the health bill wasn't going to pass, and I started thinking to myself, they always wind everybody up in front of these events. Everybody gets short, and then they get jammed. But as far as the squeeze, I think that occurred. It did. It took out a lot of shorts, and the S&P is acting pretty weak. We just made a low just down here at 41 even, and that was only a couple minutes ago. So, where do we go from here? My own gut says, well, the other question is, I'll ask the other question. Is the Trump stock market party over? I get the feeling that it is. And I also get the feeling that as we go into the end of the month or the end of the quarter, and the March quarterly rebalance, that there could be more selling by these institutions. The weakness coming out of these banks, the weakness coming out of some of these drug stocks, drug makers, it's a big deal. And you know what? Maybe Trump has gone, when he started to, right off the bat, start trying to get some of his campaign promises done in the first day, I was shocked. I thought that there had to be a larger process involved to make such gigantic decisions and move such important things down the line. And what I was thinking about this is that while certain people may not like President Trump, I know that there's a lot of folks out there that don't. It's really hard to argue with what he's trying to do. I mean, I know that the Democrats, they just detest him. But at the end of the day, Obamacare's broken and it needs to be fixed. So fighting this is not necessarily the best thing for the country or the people or the insurance program itself. So it needs repair. some of these plans now, there's only one plan being offered in certain states, and all the things that was promised are just about gone. Picking your own doctor, all that stuff. So there's a lot going on here, you guys, and the real to kind of conclude this, I think that the real deal here is that the word that most fits this is uncertainty. Uncertainty around this bill, whether it's going to pass. I don't think it's going to. As I said, says it's an 88% chance that it will not pass. And those were votes that have been compiling over today, and I think that it's going to be right on. I think it's going to be a pretty hard thing to get done. But anyways, we're going to let this play out in the latter part of the afternoon here. My gut tells me that there's going to be a knockdown, and then there's going to be a rally. And I don't know that will all happen at the same time, but it looks, the markets act, they act and they look weak. And I'm just going to leave it like that. Like I told you guys, we've got a webinar I'm going to be doing on April 1st. I really am going to ask you guys, please go to the website and sign up for the webinar. It's going to be a good one. I've been pulling out charts, and I'm going to be talking about the markets and doing my thing, and I really would appreciate it if you guys, I work hard. You know that I'm out there trying to do the right thing. But at the end of the day, these markets are very unforgiving. If you get off, you put out a position, they start going against you, you don't get out, you lose a bunch of money. You get out right away, then the market goes your way. That's what happened this morning. I sold the S&P 2 times right off the high of the day, and then it didn't move, and I got out. Small losses, and now it dumps down. In fact, we have a Mr. Top Step 10 handle rule right now. 23.52 down to 23.41. 11 handles. And that's another thing that we're going to be talking about in the webinar, is the Mr. Top Step 10 handle rule. But anyways, I'm going to leave it like that, traders. I'm going to be doing more videos. We've got things were kind of screwed up here for a little while, but I've got everything fixed, and I am going to be back on doing more videos. Okay, so we'll leave it like that. Have a great weekend, everybody, and don't forget the Mr. Top Step webinar on April 1st at 11 o'clock Central Time. All right? I'm going to be working hard for you, so show up. Thanks.